Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. This is a series of talk, Dhamma talk on the Karaniya Metta Sutta. That is Buddha's discourse on universal love. Today, this is going to be the third of the series. In the first, we have discussed about the historical background of the sutta, how very sincere monks who had gone to spend a retreat time during the rains retreat, they were not able to gain anything in spite of their tremendous effort at gaining spiritual liberation. They were nowhere near that. And that is because they did not have the metta background to whatever they did, and so that frustrated all their efforts. Then in the second discourse, last time we discussed about the sutta is divided into three distinct modes of development and purification. That is metta as a sila, as a virtuous conduct, metta as samadhi, that is a type of spiritual meditative practice leading to purity of mind, and ultimately leading the mind to a super conscious state. And the third is metta as panya, as intuitive wisdom which penetrates into the realities of all things and enables one to transcend all the dichotomies and the dualities of life. Life is fraught with the pairs of opposite always, everywhere. And today we will discuss the psychological implication of Metta Sila. We have mentioned that Metta Sila starts, there are 16 such mode of living that build up metta as a virtue. But now it starts, it is said that before metta can be converted into Sila, one has to understand that what is the nature of Sila itself. Sila is not just so many precepts that a person undertakes, but Sila also means bringing about a complete change in one's mode of thinking, in having a certain objective, distinct philosophical and spiritual objective, all based upon what the sutta says, sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta, may all beings be happy. So the metta sila part, just last time I discussed five such qualities that one has to cultivate as metta as action, metta as bodily and verbal action, as conduct, virtuous conduct. So it is said that sakko ujucha sujucha suvacho chassa mudu anatimani. One who truly seeks his spiritual well-being and welfare, and who understands the ultimate, the nature of the ultimate goal, that is spiritual perfection. He should put metta into action in day-to-day life, in the form, first of all, that he should have the skill to manage life, every affairs of life, from the time we get up in the morning till we retire at night. Everything that we do, everything that we say, and everything that we think all these three modes of actions. All these three modes of action should be so oriented, so influenced and imbued by metta that they become Sila Sampatti. That is Sila, virtuous conduct, that enriches life from moment to moment. Now, for Sila to become an enriching quality, one has to be really very skillful in managing one's day-to-day life. And if we cannot manage our own life in a very skillful way, in a good way, with the background philosophy of metta, which says, may all beings be happy. That is with the background philosophy of universal love, cultivation of universal love. When that becomes the background of everything we say, do or think, that becomes Metta Sila. And it is something that everybody can approximate at least, or try to practice as much or as best as one can. So the first quality of virtue that one has to practice is sakko. That means one has to really develop skill in doing whatever one does. Managing life means what? One has to understand that life is a very, very complex thing. First of all, we have our individual life, then we have the group family life or the group life, then we have the professional life, then we have the social life. So many aspects of life, and metta must touch every aspect of life. Metta must be a skillful management of every aspect of life. We should know how to manage ourselves in our personal life, how to manage our dealings with our family members and the group in which we live. We must know how to manage our professional life. In our professional life, we meet with so many people, so many men and women with whom we interact. So with a metta philosophy in life, if we have to make this interaction meaningful, then one has to apply these 5 things. That is, one must develop skill, competence, able in everything that we do, and not depend upon people to do for us. We should be able to do everything ourselves. And to be able to do this, it is necessary that one becomes uju, ruju. That means absolutely straightforward and upright. A person who is not straight, who is crooked in outlook, crooked in action, crooked in behavior, cunning, hypocritical, that person can never practice universal love in any form. One has to learn to be straight. Only then can one really, one can develop this quality of being skillful or having the skill to manage life. So now, uprightness requires that one, you see, what one says, that one does. What one does, that one says. What one thinks, that one does and says. In this way, there should be no conflict in our life, in any manner, in our personal life, or family life, or professional life, or social life, or any life for that matter. Straightforwardness, uprightness is the beginning of practice of metta. And here, by straight, one must have some kind of an idea of rightness, properness, that which is right and proper. So one sticks to that and becomes upright. You become upright only when you have an idea of what is right. When you don't have a clear notion of what exactly is right or wrong, how can you be upright? And if you are not upright, how can you be really practicing metta in the form of a skillful management of life? That's it. One has to think this deeply. And one should also be honest to oneself. Now, people find fault with others. Oh, so-and-so is this, so-and-so is that. And whether in family life, professional life, social life, everywhere, keep on seeing holes in others. But an honest person starts with seeing one's own holes. The plenty of holes that we have within ourselves. We must seek our own before we try to find fault with others. Metta is loving kindness, the very opposite of finding fault with other people. So being negative, fault finding, these are terrible qualities that makes life miserable. So before we do that, when we are actually doing it and we catch ourselves doing it, then we must ask ourselves, well, have you not done this yourself in your own life? Have you not been a victim of this kind of thing yourself? How dare you find fault with others and seek holes in others? And when it is done in the name of religion and says, I alone am wrong, all the others are wrong. I alone am right, all the others are wrong. You develop fanaticism, you become an intolerant religious man. And the bane of modern life is intolerant religion, fanaticism. One keeps on mouthing all kinds of lofty ideas and so on and says all this has come from God. How do you know that? So one has to be very, very careful about one's religious beliefs and so on and try to impose those on others. A person who practices metta cannot practice proselytization. You can't proselytize. You can't keep on converting others because you can't tolerate the other man's way of thinking or living. Now that is the bane of religion today. So metta is the very opposite. If you have to be honest, you see, have tolerance for others and so on. And all these three can be combined when one is really soft-spoken, mild-mannered and gentle. So the other quality is being not aggressive and offensive, but the practice of inoffensiveness, murdu, gentleness, and suvacho, gentle in speech, mild-mannered in speech, and so on. So these are qualities which are nothing but expressions of metta, provided here Metta Sila contributes to metta sampatti. So today's discourse, I want to discuss three very important points in Buddhism. One is, as the Lord has said in the Dhammapada, Gatha number 240, in Dhammapada, Bhagavan says, Ayasava malang samuttitang taduttaya tameva khadati Evang atidhona charinang sakakam mani nayanti duggating. Just as rust arising from iron eats away the base from which it arises. Even so, their own deeds lead the transgressors to states of woe. Now this is a very wonderful analogy indeed. Now, the iron is eaten up by something that grows within it, the rust. And the human mind is capable of so much of goodness and so much of spiritual and moral excellence, yet it is also gobbled up all the time by the rust that arises in the mind, the defilements. So, Sila, there are two sides of Sila. One is the Sila Sampatti, Sila as an asset, as something that enriches life, spiritual enrichment and moral enrichment in life. And then Sila Vipatti, the very opposite, Sila as a liability. How come? You are leading a virtuous life, you are being very good, you do all kinds of good things, yet these very good deeds become a liability for you. You acquire bad karma by so-called good deeds only. Now we don't need to go very far. You see the life of a politician. He is mouthing platitudes all over the world, all high-flown philosophy, goodness, morality and whatnot. Yet he has created a condition in India that India is festering with corruption everywhere. And we too contribute to that. We are not free from that. We can't only blame the politician. We can't blame only the gurus who keep on saying dogmatically, I alone am right, all the others are wrong. No, can't only blame all those people. We also contribute. So we have to be honest to ourselves in this. So now Sila, the idea behind is this. All the good virtues that you practice in order to develop Metta, universal love. You say, well, I'm going to tell the truth. Why? Because I seek the well-being of all beings. Because I want sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta. May all beings be happy. I want to practice universal love. That is why I want to tell the truth. And I want to avoid being a liar. So whatever good deeds we do, unless it is based on a very clear-cut understanding that it is something that does not lead to self-defeat, a counterproductive thing which brings Sila Vipatti, not Sila Sampatti, that it should be a spiritual asset for me, this conduct, not a liability. Because Bhagavan Buddha in many suttas have emphasized that in this world of conditioned existence, everything can contribute to either way, to good or to bad. Even the good can produce bad, lead to something bad. Now you are very upright, let us say, or you are very able, extremely capable person in everything, and very skillful, and you know that you are very skillful. And you hear people praising you, oh, you are a very able person, my dear, very, very skillful and all so on. Once you begin to hear all this praise, and then your head becomes swollen-headed. You fill the head with air of pride, of conceit. Well, all that being very able and competent and skillful, all that contributes to your spiritual degeneration, not to your spiritual enrichment. You are a very dhanapati, very you give a lot of charity, a lot of dana. You practice a lot of generosity of your heart. An open-handed, open-hearted person you want to become. Good. That is wonderful. But once you do that, you say, oh, I need a 80G from this person so that I can get an income tax rebate. So you have got some ulterior motive behind your dana. Or you want others to praise, oh, what a charitable person you are, and so on. Or you say, no, I don't want name and fame or anything, but I want to be born in Devalok. I want to become a god, a Deva, and enjoy all the bliss, all the long life and happiness of divine existence. Now, most of the religious people think of what? Let me go to the God and be with Him. Very good. Do that, nobody comes on the way. But that also means existence in the world. Whether you are born in divine plane or in human plane, it is existence. Why? You have a beginning, you are born there, then you continue to live, and as you live, continue to live, you collect, you accumulate a lot of karma, activities of all kinds, whether it's a human or divine, it doesn't matter, it's activity, karma. And when you accumulate karma, certainly you catapult yourself into the next stage, you are reborn somewhere. So if these are the motivations to do good, then they become Sila Vipatti, not Sila Sampatti. And if we understand this, that whatever good we do in order to cultivate metta, universal love, it has to be absolutely selfless. It has to be truly universal love, selfless love. If we have some selfish motive behind, name and fame, this and that, whatever motive, worldly motive you may have, if metta is practiced with a worldly motive, you can be sure it will never lead to spiritual upliftment, but it will lead to spiritual degeneration. Doing a lot of social work, very good. That is a very good thing to do. But then what? You are promoting your own caste interest, your own community interest, your own religious interest. All then becomes self-defeating. So a serious man practicing spiritual life under the teachings of Bhagavan Buddha, a person cannot do that. You can't have ulterior motive, a worldly motive, and do something good with that and as an undercurrent. No. You have to be very clean as far as your motive is concerned. So, Sila has to be something that enriches the mind to begin with, Sila Sampatti, and it not only enriches mind but our life itself. So it becomes a meritorious life, productive of great happiness and spiritual wealth. It must become an asset, Sila Sampatti. Otherwise, if you have some other motive and all that, then you just turn it into spiritual Sila Vipatti and a liability, something leading to spiritual degeneration rather than regeneration. So, what is it that turns a good deed into something negative? Something which involves us in the worldly existence in some form or other and does not lead to contribute to spiritual liberation, from any type of worldly existence. What is that brings about this distortion? It is called Vanchaka Dhamma. That is a self-deceptive force or mental factor that turns a good deed into a self-defeating good deed. That means a Sila Vipatti. It contributes to degeneration. So what is that self-deceiving factor? Anything that we do motivated by personal gain, name and fame, personal, in whatever way, where I-ness is there. So long it is rooted in self-interest, whether it is your own personal life or your family interest or your community interest or your social interest or whatever. Now anything, you see, you have a wrong worldly motive, that is the defeating factor, that is the deceiving. And they are known as upakilesa. You see, they are not just straightforward defilements of mind, kilesa, but they are upakilesa. Something which puts on a mask, vanchaka, puts on a mask, takes a very good garb and shows itself in good garb, but underlying it is a terrible mental defilement. A meditator meditates and he begins to experience a lot of piti, lot of spiritual, let us say, joy, ending in rapture and all that sort of thing. He even brings about through rapture a state of levitation where the body becomes so light that it moves up. Then he begins to say, oh, now this is samadhi. Now I am liberated. Oh, all sorts of things he begins to imagine. And there ends all the spiritual development. So, and why I am getting samadhi? That big I comes. And that big I gets all the samadhi and what not. There ends everything. So in Buddhism, one thing which is very, very, you see, conspicuous by its speciality in Buddhism is anatta, not atta. Non-self rather than self. So if we do anything good motivated by non-self, not by self-interest, not by selfish motivation, whether personal or family or anything, nothing to do with that, but totally selfless, means non-self, anatta. Then the mind can never be cheated, and then good deeds cannot take a good garb and then cheat your mind. It's like a rust that eats the mind into the mind itself. So one has to be very careful as to practice of Metta Sila in such a way that it becomes Metta Sila Sampatti and never Metta Sila Vipatti and never subject to Vanchaka Dhamma, Metta Sila Vanchaka. No. So when we have clear-cut understanding of this, then Metta becomes really meaningful and productive of great spiritual, moral and even material success in life and happiness in life. May the grace of Lord Buddha surround your life with metta, universal love. May you all progress on the spiritual path. May you all be happy. Sukhino bhavantu.